All right, time for round two. I just put in a blueberry loaf, and I set it for 45 minutes, so that's my timer as well for me to hopefully make this video 45 minutes or less, because I want to eat that blueberry loaf, let's be honest. So my second round opponent is Sergei Zanozin. He was this, like, teenager maybe, Russian kid. After the games, he would run to his mom in the main room, they'd start speaking Russian. I didn't know it was Russian because I knew a couple Russian words. Yeah, Sergei Zanozin. And I have a really good track record against Russians so far into my illustrious career. I've never lost to one, so I was hoping to not make this a loss. Sergey and I both won round one, and we were the only two people to have won our first round game. I think there's 10 people in the section. Nine initially, because I think Justin added himself midway through, and Joseph got a bye round one. So there are four games, so there were two decisive games and two draws. So we were the board one of this section. And unfortunately, yet again, I got assigned black. Now, I kid you not, I made a mention of this. I will reveal my spreadsheet at the end, I think. But I've literally gotten black 10 out of my last 14 games. It is a bit of a joke. Nonetheless, my opponent, young Sergei, strikes out with e4. I say, okay, I've had great results with the Maroxy defense. Like, fuck it, we ball. This is an hour-long game. I don't want to, create new theory all to myself. So let's just go into the moves. So we get e4, d4. I've seen this a lot. And I play e5, thinking, of course, takes, queen takes, and we just play this position yet again. For those of you that have watched my games, I really have studied this. I'm really comfortable, which is why I'm continuously playing into it, just to keep, trialing things. And every time the game gets a little bit different pretty early, and that's the beauty of chess. You can play the same opening every single game, and all of your games will mostly be different. Similar ideas, though. That's why I'm trying to stick to what's working. And then for the record, after my French defense, the first 10 or 12 black games where I didn't have good results, my results have been a lot better. Anyway, he does play d takes e5. Obviously go d takes e5. And then to my shock, the very obvious move, and it's not like it's like super great, but like I just know this position backwards and forwards, white maintains a very small edge. He should trade queens. But this is the first opponent that doesn't do that. He instead just plays knight f3. And I thought this was weird because I know that like he should just trade and it's fine for me not to have to ruin the chance to castle. But I also know that me taking is good, and I took. And all of a sudden, 4 moves in, black is already equalized. Like, I would consider that a rousing opening success. He obviously takes with the king, and let's ball. This was quite the game, by the way, everybody. This was a 50-move romper. So we probably want to get to it. I don't want to linger too long, especially because I'm going to tack on my last game as well, because that one was a rather easy one, for the record. Spoiler alert. All right, now at this point, when he moves his king over, obviously my pawn is under attack. Wow. They want me to sack the pawn and just play for, if I go here and he takes, I take, and I'm immediately threatening f2. Maybe that's better. Yeah, I see that. All right, well, I play f6 because I'm very familiar with the structure. Commander still gives an excellent. It just made sense to me. So, not going to cry over spilled milk there. He now plays knight c3. And what's funny is, in a lot of positions in the Maroxy defense, c6 is great because it takes away these squares and your king is on d8 with the idea of tucking your king over. But when he played this, and by the way, my opponent got into time trouble as well. This is another game my opponent was slower than me, but not in the opening. I spent more time than him. He was kind of blitzing this a little bit because we got an unusual setup for me, and I realized that I don't think in this position, because my king is a square over, the c6 idea is that good because I can't tuck my king in. In fact, I could get cut off. So I figured I didn't want to do that. Obviously, I'm aware of like these kind of moves to then like him looking for the early fork. But I decided that it's not a big deal. Now, maybe it's a big deal, maybe it's not a big deal. I don't know. But I decided that one of the big goals of all these positions is ideally trade the dark square bishops, and I want my light square bishop on e6. Normally they play c4, bishop c4 first. So I decided I was going to allow him to jump with the knight, knowing that I always have knight a6. However, maybe this wasn't the right plan. But I did know that this is where I wanted my bishop. And computer still gives him an excellent, so, we're good. Not surprisingly, he immediately jumps on into the position with his knight to b5. And it's very clear. He has a few threats. It's funny, the computer does say to just get the king in, screw castling, and just use that. I don't know. I thought the obvious move was knight a6, because then I'm defending and I'm developing. But the problem is I wondered if he slams the bishop onto e3, would my pawn on a7 be weak? Would he win a pawn? And I did all these calculations, and I just, again, after 10 minutes in the opening, I said, I don't know. I said I would rather move my... Interesting. I said I would rather... Yeah, maybe that was the other move I should have considered, but I didn't want to just give him the bishop pair right away. I played knight a6. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm curious if this was the right decision. I thought that it was an opening win that he couldn't castle, but I could. That I could then do the reverse plan of the castle with check. So that's why I didn't want to move my king, but I shouldn't have married myself to that idea. I should have maybe been a little bit more flexible. Because again, the whole time I'm wondering, I assumed bishop e3 was his best move, targeting the a7 pawn, and I wasn't clear how to stop that. Anyway, he not surprisingly plays bishop e3, which is his best move, and I just didn't know. And I had to do more calculations because I figured if I attack his knight, unfortunately, that doesn't quite work because then I just take here. But I thought he could sack with the idea of basically I can't quite take, and then he can open up the bishop on the knight. This gets weak. Maybe he wins more pawns. Blah 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 blah. Everything looked kind of ugly to me here, and I regretted going into this line directly. And the computer's even recommending knight h6, just ignoring everything happening here and just developing. That's interesting. I know the computer always likes these knight h6 moves. I do end up doing it in this game, and I don't have a feel for when it's what to do from there, but we'll get there. We'll get there when we get there. I should have played c6 as well. My thinking, for the record, I did the castle because I thought, how bad could this be? I could maybe get my king over, and now he's going to have problems developing his rook. But I thought that if I went c6 here, the computer just wants him to move back. Interesting. That doesn't work. Yeah, I should have just done this. I should have just done this, honestly. I don't know why I made my life harder on myself. Anyway, I queenside castle with check. He moves king to c1. And now I go knight c5. Because okay, good, it's the best move. Because now I'm thinking that maybe he is winning this pawn. I need to get this off the light square diagonal. And obviously I'm attacking the e4 pawn, which is a lot more important than the a pawn. And I'm kind of getting it to a more active square than on a6. So, that's fine. I really wanted my bishop to be there, but it didn't work because then he would basically be able to sacrifice. He would remove the defender and then win the piece. To show you guys what I mean, I wanted to play bishop c5 because I wanted to trade these two pieces. It doesn't quite work because takes, and then if I go back here, he's just winning all these pieces. I could go like that, and then he takes here, I take here, he goes f takes, and I thought this was better for him, and it is. I didn't want to play into this position, and this is what I saw if I played the bishop up. Again, it's not like it's that bad. It's just not that good. We can do better. All right, I found the best move though, knight c5. My opponent complimented me on this move after the game, which is nice. Always good to get the compliments. And now he just plays knight to... What does he do? Knight to d2. Yeah, he's just trying to get his pieces on over. I say screw it. I'm a little tired. I wondered if I should move this over. I thought that maybe he would be able to win the pawn. I say, let's get the knight out of my face. I'm tired of worried about all this nonsense. Let's just kick the knight. He plays knight c3. Best move. My opponent played a lot of best moves, by the way. I did a think here. It looks like I played the best move as well. I'm still trying to do this plan of swapping my bishop over here. None of the knight moves, as far as developing on my king side, made sense. So I said, all right, let's play knight to d7, which is the best move. Good. With the idea of swinging my bishop here, and we can go trade. And that's kind of what I was going for. He now plays knight to b3. And I thought this was a great move, actually. The computer doesn't love it, but I thought that he's now taking away my plan. I'm curious why the computer doesn't like it that much. They like just bishop c4. Interesting. Yeah, I would have traded. Okay, maybe they don't like this move that much. Trade. And then now I go c5. And then I just, would go with my plan. All right, I mean, it's an equal game. Pawn structure is very symmetrical. My king is a little more active and his rook is a little bit tucked away. His problem's developing. My knight's not quite in the game yet. Like, I'm surprised that this is, I mean, it's equal. 0.05, it's equal. But I'm surprised that that black is not slightly better here. Because I control the file, But, oh well, whatever. Didn't happen, doesn't matter. He plays knight b3. I thought this was a good move. The computer gives him an inaccuracy, but I actually, in game, I kind of sighed because that was my big plan. I thought that, I thought that was in good shape. And I looked at the board and I thought to myself, like, what the hell can I do here? They're considering moves like g6, I guess, to get my bishop in somewhere. I don't even know. g6 with what idea? g6 to go f5. Okay, so then maybe open up that way to make my light square bishop even better. Okay, that's an idea. I went with the second best move. I finally here went knight h6. My idea was kind of simple. I don't really want to block my dark square bishop in by developing to e7. Wasn't sure where it was going. But number one, I would threaten to go to g4, which would again remove his dark square bishop because I really want to get that off of the table. B, if he ever takes, then I've succeeded, and now I have a very clear plan and active line. No one ever takes there. And if none of that happens, worst case scenario, I can then reroute it to f7, where that it maybe comes alive onto d6. So I went with it. All right, the computer likes it. Hard to argue. I feel pretty good. He immediately, and again, in the opening, I spent a little bit more time than him, but he started using more time than me pretty quickly, and I'll explain when that comes up. But for now, just assume that we both have... For now, assume we both have, like, a lot of time. Neither of us is in a deep tank. And, I'm trying to think as far as, like, foibles. I wonder if I mentioned, the first one, tournament director, he's got, like, the two daughters that play all the time. This guy was, like, a kid. Not, like, a young kid, but a kid who would run to his mom and speak Russian with her after each round. So, all right. And, yeah, they just never want to take. And I assume taking would have been good for me. I'm actually just kind of curious because, like, online in Blitz, people play this a lot because it looks like it damages the structure, which it does, but like a typical move like e2. They really like the c6 move just to take away the knight jumps. Okay, and then... Yeah, I don't know. It gives black a plan. Yeah, it's excellent because then you control the g file. There's no light square bish to like knock him off, and you can maybe start attacking that way. All right, I like it. Anyway, he doesn't take. He instead plays f3. I think to myself like, well, shit. We're 13 moves in. I knew I couldn't be any worse here. In fact, black is slightly better, so that's kind of nice. I then play knight f7. I continue through with the plan. They like f5. I wondered if f5 was good here. It's funny. That was my other plan. I wondered if it was good. I didn't like it because I thought if I pushed, he would take. I would take. He would. I don't know. I thought that my pawns would be very jumbled. Like it would be. Apparently, the computer says that's good for me, but I'll show you guys what I mean. So here I developed my knight, but bear with me for a moment. It's excellent. Thank you, computer. If I stick with the other plan they have, f5, I thought here he should trade. I would take g takes, and then e takes, and then I would go bishop takes. And I thought in this position, I guess my bishops are very active. I don't know. Like I saw this position and I didn't like it that much because I thought that my e pawn was maybe a target, and that these were weaknesses in the end game, and I didn't have a pawn to show for it. So I still don't understand why like black is better here, because this is a position I saw and I thought I didn't want to go into this. So I don't, I just don't get it. But whatever. All right, whatever. I stick to the other plan. The computer still kind of likes this, rerouting my knight, kind of swinging it to the side of the board. He plays bishop e2, which makes sense. It's logical. He's trying to get this into the game, move his rook over. And at the board, we're now like 15 moves in or so. I've used a little bit more time. I thought I have to be better here because he's got real problems developing this rook. Yeah, and I technically control the file. So I thought those were like the two small wins I had in the position. We both have the bishop pair, like all the minor pieces are on the board still. And I did a big think here, and I thought, okay, what does this position call for? Space. Am I doing anything on the queen side of the board? Not really. He is taking away this idea I had, because I really, really did want to trade these pieces, because this is my worst piece. It's on my starting square. And I said, all right, I guess I could have moved my king over, and I was thinking about that. In a lot of queen castle in positions, you want that. But I thought without having my rooks connected, I actually wanted it as a defender to my rook in case he ever swings his rook over. So I kind of ruled that one out. So I thought of two different plans. I thought of a g6 idea with swinging my bishop this way to trade, or taking space, because I know the computer likes a lot of these h5, like h4 ideas. So I went with this line, h5. After the game, my opponent said he didn't really understand what I was going with this. He didn't see any of the threats. And I said it's not that there's not many threats. It said I'm trying to take space on the side of the board. Like I'm trying to crimp your position. And I think I succeeded doing that. I thought that was like the intention behind it. I also thought that maybe there were some lines again of being able to trade off this bishop finally. All right. He plays rook d1. He ignores my pawn pushing. Cold-blooded. They like my plan of, h4. Just keep pushing it. Keep piling it forward. I looked at this. I didn't really see he had any threat. He still has big problems with getting the rook in. And I thought, let's just take more space. Like, fuck it. We ball. Play h4. It's funny. When I was pushing it, and the computer loves this for whatever reason, I wasn't exactly sure where I was going with it, to be completely honest. I knew I was earning space, and I thought that maybe there were some ideas of, like, rook lifts at some point. Not now. More so when we trade these off, then I'd maybe have, like, a rook lift idea. But, truth be told, I was pushing the pawn, knowing that I'm kind of getting some space, but not really sure what the end goal is. As it turned out in the end game, having my pawn pushed was a good thing rather than a bad thing, but I know that these ideas are pretty decent for black. I don't fully understand them. The idea, of course, is he doesn't have to take the pawn. If he ever takes the pawn, then I get big play, but I assumed he wouldn't take the pawn, so oh well, whatever. Anyway, he plays a3, which I thought was just a bad move. I thought this was his first move that was bad, and the reason why is it's not helping him get his rook in the game. And he said that he really wanted to take away my bishop b4, but like I've had like 8 moves where I could have played that, and I never thought it was that good. I thought he would just jump here and like trade, and what the hell is my bishop even doing on this diagonal? The move I suggested for him that I thought was a little bit more accurate, if he wanted to play there, would have been a4 with the idea of a5 and basically doing a rook lift. They don't like this either, but what the hell do I know? That's why I am what I am. All right, once a3 is played, I think to myself, oh, good. If I take this, it messes up his pawns. That's going to be a liability. Is my bishop better than his knight? Well, right now his knight's taking away the square. If I trade, I can kind of force these. And then I started seeing, if we trade that and I land my bishop on c5, then I'm targeting his pawn, and maybe I'm coming into the position. These two are in a forking position with my knight. So I start to see some tactical ideas here when he plays a3. That's another reason. a3 weakens up the square. So I kind of do the, well, that seems decent here, but maybe I can cement my pawn first and then go back to that plan. So computer at this point is not in love with my position, but it likes it. So, all right, it is what it is. I play h3. I say, literally I went h5, h4, h3. He kind of looked at it, he shrugged, like he's like, whatever, dude, and he just goes g3, which makes sense. Like, what else is he supposed to do there? You know what I mean? And now I think I have this idea of the trade, and I'm starting to calculate, but I thought it made sense if my rooks were connected, so I'm now thinking of a way to, get them in the game. So I made the best move. I play g6. Cool. The reason why I make g6 is I'm looking to trade these off, and I thought that I'm just better here. Now, apparently I'm barely better, but I thought that he just has this weakness. I have space, and he might have double pawns, and I have some threats coming in. That was my idea, anyway. Those were my ideas. He ignores the g6 idea, and he plays rook d2, which was a move. When I asked him after the game, he said that he imagined running with his king. Not there. Or maybe something like this. And that way he'd be doubling up on the file. And I guess that makes sense, but that's like really long term away. So I stick to the plan of playing bishop h6. This is all very logical in my mind. They don't like it. Huh. I thought this would kind of forces the trades finally. Obviously, if he like moves, I win a rook. He doesn't want to allow that. They like f5 immediately. The computer's even suggesting a b1 move. Why is this so strong? Say he does something like king d1, sticking to his plan of running. Oh, now they like the sonic boom, which is what I look for. And then... Right. If he ever trades, boom, and now I have him exactly what I want. Alright, well, this is basically what happens in the game. So, strap yourselves in. I thought I had a super winning tactic and that I was going to have an easy game, and I didn't. I did not. All right. Bishop h6. He trades, which is his best move. Every other move is bad for him, of course. I didn't waste much time. I took knight takes. Apparently, they're like completely dead even. I thought that I would rather have my rooks connected. Not that my knight's really jumping anywhere, but then I was thinking of f5 ideas to jump into f5. Yeah, you guys will see what happens. He plays king d1. He's sticking to his plan of trying to run with his king. It's crazy. I thought black was like a good deal better here, and I'm slightly better, but I'm not like that much better. Interesting. Anyway, all those plans that were decent a few moves ago, they want me to just play the f5 idea here, which in fairness I should have, but I just go for it. I see the tactic, or at least what I think is the tactic, because I've removed the dark square bishop, which is what I wanted to do with that, because then that lets me have free reign. I see takes, knight to c5, and if he trades, takes, but if he doesn't, then I would take, he takes, and then I would take here, check him, win his rook, and with that he would resign. So it just looked like a winning tactic to me. So I checked it once, I checked it twice, didn't check it a third time, maybe I should have. And I play this. And I look at him thinking that, like, his position is near resignable. Yeah, which is funny. It's always great when you're looking at them like, all right, buddy, whenever you want, feel free to resign. But it's dead even game. And it's because we both missed a move. And you'll see, well, he eventually found it. But all right. I'm triggering through with my tactical idea, thinking that everything's good. But apparently I've thrown away my advantage with the bishop takes on b3. I go knight c5. This is my idea. These are in a forking position. If he takes, I take. I own the file. I'm coming in. I still think that this is just really good for me. Yeah. And he plays the best move, though. He plays bishop c4. When I calculated, I didn't think this worked, because I saw I have b5, and I thought if he then pushes to d5 to block this, I then have this move c6, and he would take, and then I would take, and I would win the game. I saw all that. I also saw maybe I'm supposed to take first and then check over. Yeah. All right, well, I'll show you guys what happens. So here I'm calculating between b5 or takes and then b5, and I wasn't sure which was better. They're very, very similar. I think they're both winning because I missed one move. My opponent missed it until he found it. So yeah, it looks like I'm playing a great game. I thought I had a tactical idea. I'm feeling really giddy, feeling really great. And yeah, I go rook takes d2. And I thought that it would be stronger when I have the threat of rook d8. He obviously takes. I still, I am setting up this fork, which ends the game on the spot. I launch b5, which is the best move. I'm like falling through. He's taking, at this point, finally, he's taking a lot of time. A lot of time. And I think this works because the whole time I'm calculating, d5, c6, takes, all this stuff. And so these all win. I was thinking, okay, he doesn't have like a knight move to block or anything like that. His bishop is on pre. He doesn't have this move because my knight takes it away. He doesn't have this move because my knight takes it away. He doesn't have this move because my bishop takes it away. So I calculated all of that. And he spends 15 minutes. He gets down... I wouldn't say... remember, you're given an hour. We spent 23 moves. He's probably spent 20 minutes at this point, 23, maybe a minute a move-ish. He gets down to about 20 minutes on his clock, so it's starting to see seconds, and he finds what's got to be the best move. He finds b4. And it's a real bummer, What can I say? Because I then realize I am not, in fact, winning. And I kind of do the smile chuckle, thinking that I thought the game was over. I thought I had a fork to end it. I just didn't see b4, and he didn't see it until he spent, the 15 or 20 minutes almost in the position. And I thought to myself, shit, I think I'm a little bit worse now. And why do I think I'm worse? Because I can't move my knight, or he has this check anyway, and then I'm worse. He basically gets his pieces in the game. He owns the file. If I go here, he can pin me anyway, and obviously I'm not under attack. And if I trade, he trades, and I have the double pawns here with his king more active and going to be coming in a little bit sooner. So I thought in an endgame, white's a little bit better there. I considered the Desperado, which is what they like, but I thought in that line I calculated takes. What did I calculate? Takes. And I thought his knight was more active than mine, and I still have the double pawns, the weakness. And I thought these were my strengths, these connected pawns, maybe. That I didn't think I wanted his knight to be that active. So I thought the Desperado was not. So I did see this, of course. I wondered if I should go check him first here, but I thought if bishop check, I thought I didn't think he would block with a bishop, because then I do have the c6 idea. But I thought that he would just slide away, and I would have no such check, and then it would have to be a takes anyway. I still think I should have played the bishop d8. Nonetheless, the game is zeros, and it's a real gut punch when you go from thinking you're totally winning to all of a sudden you are not anymore. So after I spent a good amount of time recollecting my thoughts, mostly just crying to myself, like not even calculating that much. I did consider the knight takes, I considered the pawn takes, I considered sliding the rook over. Those all seemed like the obvious moves. I then finally went b takes on c4. And I did this very sadly, because I thought that I was slightly worse. Now, apparently on the computer it's equal, but I thought that this position was worse. I needed to play rook to d8 check to own the file, and I see that now, and I thought after the game that that's what I needed to play here, and I'm a bit inaccurate. Maybe blame the tiredness, whatever, but instead I play knight to f7, and this is just a significant mistake, actually. It's an inaccuracy. My thinking was I could reroute my knight to g5, and I'm forking, potentially, and I thought that maybe because I pushed this pawn to h3, that if I can get rid of this h2 pawn, I have a real win condition, and that maybe I could argue I'm still better. And I think this is a mistake, because my mindset went from, right around here, to where I thought that I was winning, that I deserved to win this game. And then when he found this move, I realized that it was equal, and I still wanted to win this game. Like, honestly, like that was my psychology here. I still thought, not that I deserved to win, but I fucking wanted to win. And I was upset that he found this move. And again, in the recap, he's like, oh, I got so lucky. I thought I was totally cooked. But he said it in like a Russian schoolboy way. And I said, well, that's why you play the game out. And I do think that I made a slight mistake where I should have gone to the Desperado line. I of course did see this. I just didn't think... I thought this was a little bit worse for me. Oh, they don't even want to go there. Oh, because I'm getting active all of a sudden. Okay. Alright, well, this is what I should have gone into. And I did see this, but this would have been slightly better for me. Alright, nonetheless, I play knight f7 with this idea. Potential forks, thinking that I always have this check. But my opponent does not have a lot of time. It spends 10 minutes in this position. So he's down to like 18. He gets down to like 8 minutes or so. And props to him for really using his time. I had a big time advantage for the record, which, again, will come into play. And once I play my knight here, he plays knight f5. And I realize, obviously, now that he nails the knight on the incredibly strong outpost, it's not so easy to dislodge. I don't really have these moves necessarily. I should have maybe brought my king in at this point, or just pushed to maybe remove it. But I looked at this position, and the first thing I did is he was down to like 8 minutes, or maybe 9. And again, I had 20, 23, something like that. I said, would you like a draw? And I offered a draw. Now, why did I offer a draw here? Well, first off, I'm no longer better, obviously. I offered a draw because I thought that I blew my winning chances. I didn't want to tilt totally. I thought that because he was definitely worse, that maybe he would just take it. And to be completely blunt, I didn't see any way how I could ever be better here, and I'm not. But I thought it was pretty. I thought it was a reasonable draw offer because it's a knight endgame where I thought that I thought that he wouldn't necessarily be winning a pawn. That maybe I could hold everything together. Obviously sliding the rook was my first idea, but then I thought that he would then just break the pin, and then I basically play f5, things like that. So I offer the draw here, and. I think actually I offered it when he was thinking on his turn, and his first response was, let me think about it, like maybe. And then he played knight to d5, and then he said, yeah, I'm not going to take the draw. And I thought it was a reasonable draw offer. I had a big time advantage, but I thought I blew the game, and I just didn't want to tilt it off, basically. Anyway, and I make a very big mistake here. Well, not a very big mistake. My move is reasonable. For the longest time, I needed to move my freaking rook and claim the d file, the only file, so that I have some real threats. Instead, I stick to the very blitzy plan of knight g5, which is not a bad move. Thinking I'm going to lose this pawn, but if I do, I win that and more. And thinking that, basically I have sufficient counterplay and that this should be a draw. So he wants to play it out, let's play it out, but I've got a big time advantage. I'm wondering how I mess it up. He plays king e3, which seems like the obvious move. He's taking away my my move here. I need to play king d7 here. Anyway, when he slams his king up, now I realize I'm always losing a pawn. And I did the thing, guys. I did the thing where he's down to like 7 minutes. I play for the clock. Fuck me. I mean, my move isn't like horrible, but it's bad. And I see that he has all these checks. He's first off threatening a pawn, but he also has the check on e7, which I think is stronger to win the g6 pawn. Yeah, and yeah. So I play knight e6, thinking that maybe he wins this pawn, but then I get the strong outpost as well, and we can argue. Or, of course, threatening this pawn, argue that maybe it's just a draw, it's holdable. He takes, again, like 4 minutes. He was in time trouble. He's down to 4 minutes, and he finds the best move. Props to him, and he plays rook c1. He was incredibly accurate in the endgame, like incredibly accurate. Yeah, I then panic, realizing I'm losing a pawn, maybe a second one. I can't really take this pawn. I didn't think that was good. So I thought I needed to just complicate the game, basically play for madness. So I play f5, thinking that basically trades, depending, and then maybe my rook would get active. And yeah, this is just kind of the spiraling effect. He plays now knight e7 check. And I realized that this is going to be, can he beat the clock? Because I'm certainly never winning on the board anymore. I play king b7, and he just takes the pawn. It's the best move. My rook is under attack. I'm down 2 pawns. This pawn is now kind of a liability. I have completely fucked this game up. Play f4 check, which is the best move. He plays g takes. I play e takes, of course, because what else can I do? Yeah, but it's just not looking good. Again, it's not increment. It's the whatever it is, the delay. So he is losing time. He's down to like 2 minutes. He was thinking for one of these positions, I was gonna say like, hey, do you want to draw again? But I didn't, and I don't think he would have taken it. Again, I offered the once, and that's it. He now goes knight takes pawn. I'm just, again, trying to play for some complications. I then swing my knight over on this side to c5, thinking that maybe I get some forks going on, but he's literally playing like perfectly with no time on the clock, which is, it's so gross how this happens to me like every time. I mean, I shouldn't be like that upset. I'm lost at this point, but I'm telling you, the kid had 2 minutes left on his clock. So it just sucks, He now plays rook takes. It's not like these moves are hard to find, but you'd think that maybe they'd make a mistake. I played knight d7. He plays knight e6. He's now threatening this pawn. It's a problem. I play c6. It's the only move I saw that kind of solved the matter or pushed it, delayed it. He now goes for the simplifying move of knight c5. I have no choice. I can obviously trade, but I thought it's maybe better to centralize my king, kind of get in the middle of the board. I still have more than 20 minutes, guys. I'm not going to lie. I had a lot of time. I played king c7. He plays knight takes on d7, of course. Apparently, I thought that he could take this pawn, by the way, but I thought that maybe he would get into some complicating matters. For the record, I was hoping he would take this pawn because I thought it was probably the best move, but I also thought that it was the move when you're down to like a minute and a half that could cause big problems. Whereas if he simplifies, which is what he did, I thought that this rook pawn endgame is pretty easy to win with a little bit more than a minute on the clock. So I was disappointed, to say the least. He now pushes e5. And it's a race. It's me. It's him against the clock. I play rook b8. My idea is I'm just trying to come in to get some checks, just to take some time off the clock, Anytime I play against the clock, I lose, like literally every single time. He plays b4. I hit him immediately with a5. It makes sense. I'm trying to get him to trade these so I can just play along the open file. If I can ever get behind him, I have real win chances and a lot of checks. Again, complicating matters. I thought that was sensible. He plays f4 now, just trying to get the pass pawns rolling. Can't say I blame him. I take. He goes rook takes, which makes sense. And now I swing my rook to g8. My thinking is now I have the open file, and if I can ever get behind him, then maybe I can actually win these pawns, and maybe I can draw. It seemed reasonable to me. At this point, again, I'm not kidding. He's down to a minute. He's playing every move within 5 seconds. Although he's losing time. He ends the game with 10 seconds on his clock, so he loses a bit of time. He now plays rook d4 check. I play king e7. I didn't want to move up because I thought he would just immediately check. So I wanted to get in the way of these pawns and get around him. And then I thought maybe I could scoop them and maybe draw. Again, a lot of maybes and a lot of maybes. Who knows? He plays f5. I now go rook g2, which is the best move. I'm trying to immediately bangarang, and then threaten maybe to win. Maybe. I wrote king c2, but that makes no. Oh, rook c2. It doesn't make a lot of sense. That's over here. All right, so clearly I didn't record all the moves correctly either. Rook, okay, f5, rook g2, rook c2. That's where I play. What the fuck? All right, well, you gotta love the moves are written incorrectly here. Rook g2. I think go rook g1. Maybe, you know, it must be rook d2. Okay, I wrote down rook c2, but it must be rook d2. I then play rook g1, trying to keep them on and maybe, again, get around for these checks, thinking that maybe I could draw at that point. He plays f6 check. I go king e8. I realize I have to go back rather than forward, I thought, because then he would just maybe check. I don't know. I play king e8. Again, the game's totally lost. It's just a race. You know, can he mate me in a minute or not? He now goes e6. I play rook f1, thinking I'm getting behind this. If he pushes, I go here with the idea if he checks, I can then take the pawn, and my rook is actually preventing the queening square. So I thought I had some tricks here. Tricks. He plays rook f2, and you know, just trying to block it off. I play rook e1 check. He now goes king d3. He wasn't sure where to move there. And I thought, oh, maybe I'm drawing here. But my opponent, props to him, again, he played such a perfect endgame, plays rook e2, forcing the rooks off. And I didn't calculate this, but it's brilliant because the reason why is I thought, oh, maybe I'm drawing, but I'm a move too slow. So apparently he calculated this out with like 10 seconds. So, you know, well done. The game will be over in a moment, so I'm going to just play out the final few moves. I played my king over here. He obviously pushes a4. I take on f6. And if you notice, he's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 moves away. I am 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 moves away. He wins the queens by 1 move. And that ends up being the game. I resign after move 51, so I guess, you know, he'll go here. I make the realization. I move in. He pushes, and I resign. So, yeah, that was the second round game. You know, it's hard to argue with this one. I very quickly, in between rounds 2 and 3, looked this up, and my opponent played like a 96% accuracy or something insane. So, no, that's not his last name. So, like, in a spot like that, you gotta kind of just, it's like 1592 or something. I thought I played okay, you know? I thought I played okay. Foliage, round 2. Did I misspell foliage again? I literally did. All right, let's add this to my, no. Add to game collection. Add to game collection, Foliage, October 18th. And we'll very quickly do a review of this one. We'll figure out how this one went. 95, yeah, when I did it on my phone, it was 96%. And again, I played pretty well, actually. 89.2 is not shabby. It's just my opponent played incredibly well. Yeah, my opening went great. My mid-game even went great, 94.9. Jeez, what a machine. He was a 96% accuracy in the end game. And I lost. I don't know. I don't know any takeaways from this one. I thought I had the win, the tactical win, and he found the move, and I kind of crumbled. He didn't take the draw offer. I played for clock because he was so low. I really don't know when it's correct to play for clock. I guess it's never correct to play for clock. But yeah, that was that. All right, so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna show the third game very, very quickly. I will go back to this one at some point. Let's do a new analysis, and I'm gonna just lop on the third game. I finally get white, by the way, against Prayag Kathik. My oven just beeped, which means it's 45 minutes. So I'm gonna just check the blueberry loaf I made, and I'll be back in a moment. Oh, the blueberry loaf looks like it needed a little bit more time. It was not quite ready, so it is what it is. All right, my opponent is Prayag Kartik. He was also like a teenager or so, on the younger side, but not a kid. He's only 1238. I think he's having a rough go of the tournament so far. I don't know what his record was, but because I had won one and then lost one, I was on 1 point. I think he was on half a point or something. So, my goal was pretty simple. Let's fucking destroy him. I play d4, he plays d5. In the recap with Sergei, we went over it very quickly. He was kind of speaking some Russian with his mom. He played very well. It looks like almost a 96% accuracy. The only thing I regret is I thought that tactic worked. I didn't have to go into it. My ideas were pretty strong that game. I didn't need to implode towards the end after the draw offer. I think I could have probably held that night game better. I played too much on clock, for sure, thinking that would have saved me. Anyway, this one, I'm going to just go through this kind of on the faster side because I never want to like insult an opponent. And this guy seemed like a nice kid, but he just didn't play very well. And sometimes you get easy classical games. It has not happened to me very often, but it has happened every so often. So I'm going to just quickly show what happened in the game. I'm obviously trying for a Queen's Gambit. I've played this so much, and I really do like it. I really do. I really like this stuff. He's playing QGD, so it's the Queen's Gambit declined. Decline it all you want, kid. I like the Harwitz, or the Knights, basically. The Queen's Knight variation, which is what I play a lot. It's great. He plays c6. Yeah, that's what I was telling him. He kind of transposed into a semi-Slav. And I couldn't remember. It's funny. I couldn't remember. When we went over the game, he didn't really know the opening, this is like a very common opening. I feel like you probably should know this if you're answering d4, d5. You gotta know this. But I actually think online I run into some problems with the semi-Slav. I think the semi-Slav is pretty good. I don't think my win rate's great against it, but, whatever. Yeah, you'll see how I handled it here. I play e3, which is the main line. I know my main lines. And I told him, he said he wasn't aware, but I'm pretty sure he played like the first 9 moves of book, because I knew them and he was matching them, which means they're probably not that hard to figure out. You know what I mean? Something like that. Basically, these are all book lines, so I'm going to try to bang them out pretty quickly. I then go bishop d6. Which is pretty good. Obviously, if he trades, I take back. He then castles. I then castle. Yeah, this is all mainline theory. So again, this is stuff I know. And he said that he didn't know this stuff, but he was playing it anyway. So, good on him. Rook e8's a common idea. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I guess this is where, all right, so 7, this is where he breaks. What was he supposed to do? b6 here? Okay. He plays, I guess he switches the move order. He plays b6 very, very shortly. I go bishop d2. Just developing my pieces. I'm moving, by the way, for the record. They like e4 there. Interesting. I've spent a minute in this position. He spent like 8 minutes, so he wasn't, he was thinking about this stuff, but I just knew this stuff, so I was just playing it. He plays c5, which seemed fine. Excellent. I play rook c1, which seems good to me. Because I figure he's gonna open the file, and I want to play on this side of the board. My move is excellent. Thank you, computer. He plays knight c6. He's keeping the tension here, which is fine. Excellent move. I play a3, which is a common idea, trying to take away the jump. And it's the first inaccuracy. All right. I see you, computer. I see you. They think that I should diffuse the tension now. I thought I should go a3 and then diffuse the tension. So, small move order, but it is what it is. You'll see how it comes into play. He now plays b6, which again is, just a common idea sort of in this opening. Getting everything pretty solid. And now I play d takes on c5. They like knight e2. Interesting. Kind of rerouting. All right, now I play d takes. Again, this one's going to be a little bit of a faster one, but I thought all these moves were logical. I'm playing very quickly. And I thought he made a big mistake here. He takes with a bishop. And I thought this was as soon as he, so yeah, 11 moves in, as soon as he does this, I thought this was like a blunder, basically. I thought he should have gone b takes, which they like as well. Yeah, the computer agrees. He doesn't want to give me the file, the half file, because that was my whole idea, getting my rooks onto C and D and just playing from there. Like, that's a very common idea of this D4 opening, and I thought I was slightly better, but he kind of blunders. He takes bishop takes, and the reason why is pretty clear cut. I see a tactic for a pawn at a minimum, but then I thought, well, I might even have something better, and yeah, I played. Oh, I should have gone for it. Yeah, this line of C takes. Yeah, because then attacking out wide. Okay, well, you live and learn. Whatever. I'm showing this game fast. This was not going to be a Deep Thoughts game by Jack Handy. I instead played b4 here, and I think he makes another mistake, to be completely honest. He plays to bishop d6, which I didn't think was correct. I told him I thought he should drop all the way back to f8. Yeah, that's what the computer prefers. Or the computer prefers counter-attacking to kind of come into the position. That's fine. But instead he plays bishop d6. I didn't like this at all. The reason why is here's where I see the tactic. Take, and if he takes. He said that he always thought that the reason he moved it to d6 is to take here, and then I take, and basically I'm losing this pawn for that pawn. But I veto that move because I saw that he had that, and I just go for something simple where I go c takes on d5, he plays e takes on d5, and then instead of going for the move of knight takes d5, which is what I was going to play, and the computer likes it, okay, they like it equally, I thought that in the line where he doesn't sacrifice the bishop, he would actually be able to make the trades. I'd be down a pawn, and then he would actually have this move bishop to b7, and he'd have some scary compensation, actually. I thought that the professional move was to play knight to b5. I also did look at this move, pinning the knight, with the idea I'd be opening up on it. The hell? There we go. So those were the moves I looked at. But I thought that this was like the right choice, the simple move, the solid move. And I knew that I was not winning a pawn with this line. I knew that the other line I was going to win a pawn. But I just thought that I would have a positional advantage with owning the file, being able to trade. He can't not trade my, I'm going to trade my bishop for his, I'm going to trade my knight for his bishop, because in this line, obviously, his queen's under attack, so if he defends it, I can just swap them. And I thought that I had a very comfortable position. This guy was only 1,300, so I'm going to be honest. I just thought if I take 0 chances against a 1,300, I will always win. And maybe that's right, maybe that's wrong, but that was my thinking. Anyway, that was my thinking. So I think I was correct, by the way. So I go knight b5, he plays bishop b7. I hem and haw for a moment. I have not used a lot of time, and I say, no, it's the best line, let's just take. I go knight takes, he plays queen takes, and already, again, positionally speaking, I have space, I've got the open file, he's got the isolated pawn, I have the bishop pair. I thought I was much better. I knew that I wasn't up a pawn in this line, the other line I would have been, but I thought this was stronger, so I feel rather good about myself. I think that way I've got 3 moves here. Yes, I could dislodge the knight. I could play bishop c3, which is what I think I played. Oh no, I didn't do that here. I could then pin with bishop b5. And I was also considering an h3 move, just to remove any counterplay and give me some luft. Well, I don't know what that arrow is all about. Yeah, and so those were my ideas in this position. Yeah, well, looks like b5 would have been best. Takes, and then you line it up, which is what actually kind of happened in the game, by the way. You'll see, that's almost exactly what happened in the game. So that was my idea in my mind, but I guess I did it in a slightly suboptimal fashion. All right, whatever. I play bishop b5. I'm getting off this diagonal. I know I have the threat of bishop takes if I ever take this pawn and then he takes with the queen or something. If the knight isn't there, it's too far away, but that was definitely an idea I had. Anyway, I go bishop a5. He's like, fuck your bishop, and he bumps me. And I say, okay. I go back, and he says, fuck your bishop. And I say, okay, and I go to bishop b3. And I thought I accomplished something here. Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought that my bishop was doing more than his bishop, because my bishop is not only bearing down on the f7 square, which is weak, I'm attacking his isolated pawn, whereas his bishop is stuck behind his pawn. So I thought piece-wise, my pieces were more active and better. My idea, of course, was to swing my bishop here. I was considering dropping all the way back to c2 with setting up a battery, but I thought that was too far flung. That was the other idea I had in that position. Anyway, he plays knight to d5, which kind of looks active, kind of. Yeah, and I think I have a lot of moves here, and I wasn't sure what was best. I look at bishop c3, which is what I played. I looked at slamming my knight onto d4. I think there's only two moves I looked at here, actually. I'm trying to think if there's another move I had. I didn't look at queen c2 here. I didn't look at doubling here. No. All right, well, fuck it, we ball. I didn't take that long. I played bishop c3. Yeah, I thought that this was totally good. I thought if he trades, I take, and we can just double up, and it looked pretty good to me. I had no worries. Is this really what happened? 19. No, it's not. That's e4. I'm like, wait a second, that doesn't make any sense. What am I doing? What am I doing with my life? All right. I played bishop b3. He goes knight d5. That's not possible. Why did I write down knight d5? Oh, I know why. Story time for this game is we got a board. This is the first time we played on a board without the coordinates, and I was fucking worried because I was like, holy shit, I'm going to have to write these moves down right without actually seeing the coordinates. And so that's why my notation is not correct, because I kept being like A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4. Like literally half the time, not really half the time, but a lot of the times for my moves, I literally was like counting. I literally was counting to, okay. He plays knight e5, I think. I think he plays knight e5, not knight d5. And the reason why is I think he plays this move, and that's where I consider trade. Yeah, okay, this is the move he played. I consider trading with the idea of moving bishop to c3. I consider blockading. I consider playing bishop c3 right away. I thought that if he takes, I take with my queen. And I thought his bishop would be pinned, not my queen. And I'd have another attacker gunning again on the isolated pawn. And I would just be able to have a simple plan of moving my f rook to the d file, which is where I wanted it. And I thought I'd have all my pieces in harmony. I would very quickly win this pawn. And in these positions, if you can topple the isolated pawn, you know, you're like much better. And I just thought that would be a very easy, pain-free win. So I was okay with him trading. So I set up by playing bishop c3, and that is the position where I spent a little bit of time. Apparently they didn't like it. They like, and this is the other line I was looking at, they like trading with the idea of queen trades, and then you play bishop c3. So see how the move order matters like a little bit differently. This is like half a pawn better. This is the line I saw. I just thought it would actually be, okay, for the record, I thought I wanted my queen here because I thought he was pinned, not me. And it allowed me to move my rook over to d1, which is where I thought I wanted my pieces. So, whatever. Computer thinks this is better for white, but again, we get a pretty similar position. That's, you know, jumbling pieces just as hard. What can I say? All right. In any event, and the reason why this is going to be a pretty quick recap is both recaps right around an hour-ish, hour and change. Is he then plays rook b8, which is just a total blunder. I guess he thought that if I take, this is no longer under attack in that line, and he could then like maybe push d4. I asked him after the game if he knew he was just losing an exchange, and he said he thought that this was a pawn, not a knight, and that he'd be losing, you know, two pieces for a rook and a pawn. I said okay. And the reason why we're not going to go heavily into this game is, yeah, he blunders. I say okay. I will take you up on that, and he just loses a piece with like no compensation, or excuse me, loses the exchange with no compensation. So we make these trades. I have I kind of looked at him like side eye. Again, I've not used much time. I think I won the game where I think I had used 20 minutes total at most. He used a bit more, but you know, he does play on, for the record, another couple moves. If you guys want to see the destruction, I mean, he doesn't like give up immediately, but the problem is I'm able to trade queens like, I'll just show you because I'm kind of proud of myself. Yeah, I'm just kind of proud of myself how because I thought that this game I actually think I finished with some technique. I thought I wanted to centralize my queen. I go queen d4. My thinking, of course, if he trades and I trade, I have such an easy job of bringing my rook to c7. I'm still gunning down here. I'm going to slide the other rook to this pawn. All of his pieces are going to be passive. I'm active, and I've got the exchange. He should trade, which is kind of what I assumed, but he goes queen g5, and this just seemed really bad. They still like rook c7 better, but I saw a line to force queens off, where I play queen f4. I knew that this wasn't the best move in the position, but again, I just didn't want to spend that much time on it. The reason why is I'm now hitting the rook, hitting the queen. He has to trade. And I just thought that this would be pretty simple to win. I do think that there's an element of simplicity. I have all the time in the world, but I just didn't really see how anything wrong could occur. Nonetheless, he's forced to trade. He takes and I take, and that's what I meant. Like once the queens go off, it just seemed very easy, very very easy. And again, not to like denigrate or bemoan your chess can be hard. Sometimes people have good games, sometimes bad games. But this definitely was an easy game for the hero of the day. Yeah, so I then play rook. He's now threatening, for the record, this move to fork my pieces. I thought I needed to stop that. Computer likes rook fe1 better. I do rook fd1. They're basically the same. My thinking is I'm barreling down on this pawn. I take away all of his jumps, his forks. I have my rooks in harmony. I have my bishop exactly where I want it. This isn't really a weakness. I'm just at the exchange. This is very, very, very simple. So, anyway, rook fd1. He plays knight f6. Wait, did he just go back and forth? Maybe, right? Rook knight e4 and then knight f6. I guess he just goes back and forth. Okay, cool. He's defending the pawn, trying to lock it up. Hold on a second. I thought, because my fiance is sleeping, one of my cats is in the room with her, and I thought that the older cat was trying to come out, but she never like knocks the door. It's only Sebastian. But it was in my head. In my head, in my head. Anyway, he plays knight f6. I now take the 7th. I play a rook c7. Seemed to make sense. His rook is super passive, full-time defending. Yeah, he plays h6. I think he's just trying to get some luft because otherwise he had back rank stuff. I wanted to back rank mate him. Yeah, I'm trying to cycle too fast, but I play f3. The computer likes my move a lot. My thinking here was pretty clear. I'm taking away his jumps, and I'm getting my an easy route for my king to move into the game. Simple chess, simple chess. He plays king f8. He's trying to centralize his king. I play rook e1. My thinking was pretty clear cut. Very brute force. They like it a lot. I'm just going to put pigs in a blanket or whatever the fuck it's called, and I assumed he would resign at that point. But he actually fights on slightly longer. He has like a nice move, actually. He plays knight e8, which is the best move in the position. And when he played this, I gave him the side eye, like, holy shit, man, you're really gonna fight in this position? I was annoyed because I realized that this is actually quite good. If I go here, he just repeats, which is in fact what would happen. And then I guess you move the rook like that. Okay, interesting. I see. So I thought I had to move back. So basically, I gave him the look like, come on, dude, you really want to fight this out? I was like, come on, dude, just give up. Just, you know, be nice. Just come on. Give me the win. This is the third game. I'm tired, you know, like kind of like that. I play rook c5. My idea here is I can barrel down on the pawn. I can kind of force win it. Peter likes my move. My move! He now goes rook d8. He's no longer tied down to this bishop, so he gets his rook a little bit more active. And like I'm like, come on, bro, you don't need to fight on anymore. I play rook d1. Peter likes this move a lot, thinking I'm just, you know, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. If this pawn falls, it's easy peasy. There's absolutely nothing, no chance for him in his position. He goes back the knight. I'm like, come on, bro, just resign. Don't make it so hard. And I realize I should just centralize my king and just use my king as the other attacking force. I don't have to worry about these jumps. He is completely passive. He has no moves. This is a shitty bishop. This is stuck. This has no jumps. And his king can't really even come in. So I've accomplished everything. And I thought that he has no counterplay. That he basically can just resign here. Plays g6 though. It's playing the best moves. Because now he has a different way of coming in. And I say, really, dude? Really? Really, dude? I think I wrote the moves wrong here. He played king f7. What? Alright. Where the hell are we? 31. He stopped writing moves a while ago. He had plenty of time on his clock. He just, like, stopped writing moves. He was basically like, fuck this game. And he stopped writing moves altogether. I wrote f takes g5, which doesn't make any sense. I know he's going to play here, so I'm wondering... God damn it. What the hell did I do here? I know I just said I was going to show this game kind of quick, but... g6 he plays, which is a good move. And I know he ends up pushing... I think I played g4, maybe? Maybe I played g4 with my idea of g5. That's right. Yeah, I played g4 with the idea of g5. Okay, I think this is best. Because then I would bounce the knight, and then I would storm in. That was my idea with this move. Okay, cool. And now he plays f takes on g5. That still doesn't make any sense. No, I play that. I guess he plays g5 himself. There we go. And this is where I say, oh shit, like, you know, well played. So now I go f takes on g5. Okay, cool. Again, all my nomenclature a little bit off because I didn't have coordinates. I had to do this one in my head, and that was a real stress. He plays h takes on g5. I then retake the 7th rank, rook c7, thinking that he's going to have to go passive again. I thought that maybe he should go in here and just kind of give up the pawns, but again, I wasn't expending a lot of energy at this point. He just goes back, rook b8, kind of, you know, a rough move to make, and now I play h4. And the idea here is if he takes, I can swing underneath, I'm going to win the pawn back, but more importantly, I'm threatening rook to h8 to just win the game. And if he blocks, I come back. So yeah, so this is how the game will end. I play h4, he plays g5, that's not possible. Okay, well, he plays something here. He must have taken, right? I think he just takes. I don't know why, again, isn't that, this is g takes h. I have g takes f3. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, he definitely didn't do that. I have rook h8. I now have knight f6, but it's already on f6. So I have no clue what he's even doing in this position. I don't know. The point is he resigns shortly thereafter. Like, he resigns on move 39. I definitely bumbled a few of these moves, but I think this is more or less what happened in the game. Basically, I win this pawn back and I threaten this. So I'm wondering what his move is here. He doesn't do this. I'm wondering what his move is. God damn it. You know what? This video has been long enough. So let's just make, because I know I take this and whatnot. So what the hell move is it? Let's just say he plays king e8. I don't think he did this, by the way. But I then take the pawn, and then let's say he moves back, because this is basically what happens. This is basically what happens in the game. I messed up a move or so, but I end up playing rook h8 check. The idea, if he moves here, I win that, and if he goes here, I can just relocate. It's exactly what happens. He plays knight g8, and then I go rook h7. And in this position, he resigns because he doesn't want to play that anymore. Hard to argue with him. I did see that he had rook e7, but he plays f6 and he resigns. So yeah, because obviously I'm going to take that. So anyway, that was the game. It's actually 39 moves, not 40. We didn't play this one out, but I actually thought that in this position, if he goes knight e7, it looks like, yeah, okay, that's right. I would just move to h8 and, actually, I see. We swing the bishop to c2 with the idea of getting it on h7. Okay, cool. All right, well, anyway, he resigns on move 39. Let's save this one very quickly. Anyway, the point is, he just gave me the exchange for nothing. It was a very peaceful game. I am appreciative of that. Sometimes I'm allowed to have an easy win. Kind of a low-rated player, which is all good. There's nothing wrong with that. Foliage. Did I just misspell it again? I did. Foliage. Round 3. Okay, cool. I'll save this. So I ended up finishing 2 wins, 1 loss, and then a bye in the 4th round. I finished just out of the money. Yaron, who I was hoping to play again, super nice kid, won. The guy who beat me in round 2 lost to Yaron, but finished on 3 wins. My friend Zhang also took a bye the last game. He was on 2.5 out of 3. Looks like he split second prize because he also had 3 points. I ended up gaining 25 points. I beat both Zhang and I beat where is he? Zihan, which is huge. His active rating was a bit lower, but Sergei's active rating is a bit higher. The overall rating ended up boiling out. And that was my fall Foliage, the hour-long games. I think I did pretty well. I'm pretty happy. Oh wait, let's do review real fast of this one, just to see. Again, not a challenging one. 84. Yeah, all right, cool. I played solidly. I knew the opening. My opponent was fine, and then the mid game I just converted, and he made a pretty big blunder. So, kind of a simple game. I didn't have to think too hard on this one. That's why I included it without that much analysis. I'll stop here. 2 wins and 1 loss. Pretty good. I think the average rating was roughly my rating to start, so obviously gained points. That's why I got a whole bunch of them. I like that the cross tables were up right away. I'll leave this on the screen for a moment so that people can observe if they need to. It's interesting, actually. My opponent, Prayag, he got 3 draws, and then the loss was to me. So good for him. He drew Zhang. He drew this guy. I don't know who Connor is. And he drew 5, Azim. I don't know who this guy is either. So I guess he didn't do so badly. 1.5 points. Joseph, looks like I was leaving. He beat this dude. Beat this bro. But then lost to 1 and 2. So kind of a tough squad. This was the open section. Yeah, this guy seemed nice enough as well. Reese. All right. On that note, that was my Saturday. I played 3 games. I was exhausted. I was no way I could play the 4th one. I probably would have played Yaron, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because he played 9. He didn't play Justin? Oh, okay, whatever. I probably played Yaron if I stayed. Funny enough, if I stayed and played him, he would have been on 2.5. I would have been on 2.5. If I won, then maybe I could have played for first. No, because I got the bye, so I would have had only 3 points max. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Didn't win any prize money. It's okay. Have a good night.